It's the nth act in the Nataka of Karnataka, a big rebellion brewing against Chief Minister BS Yediyurappa. The current tremors have been triggered by reports that 50 to 60 MLAs want BSY out. The Chief Minister himself has hit back, flaunting support from Lingayat seers and saying on record that he will continue to be Chief Minister till the time the High Command asks him to resign. So what is going on? Are we now heading towards YEXIT, or will this Nataka carry on? Our Bengaluru bureau with our lead story tonight.
The war is on. The rumblings are real. And the end game could be the most unthinkable upheaval for Chief Minister Yediyurappa, with the BJP government firmly sitting in factions for and against the Chief Minister. Wheels have begun to turn, both within the party and in the Chief Minister's office. Most crucially, the BJP's Karnataka unit will hold a core committee meeting on June 17th, amidst all this talk of leadership change in the state. The party's Karnataka in charge will use the meeting to submit a mood of the party report to the BJP High Command in Delhi. Breaking his silence a few days ago on speculation over the speculated leadership change, Yediyurappa said he will resign only when they ask him to do so.
ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮುಂದುವರಿತೇನೆ. ಯಾವ ದಿವಸ ನೀವು ಬೇಡ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರೇ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೋ ಆ ದಿವಸ ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಹಗಲು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಯಾವುದೇ ಗೊಂದಲದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನಿಲ್ಲ.
But Yediyurappa is matching his words with some signature flexing of his Lingayat muscle. Yediyurappa's son, B.Y. Vijendra, a party vice president himself, has held meetings with prominent Lingayat seers, raising eyebrows in political circles.
All of them, MLAs are also trying to gather their support. CM is also trying to gather support. But still, with the entire state in a big loss, at the time of COVID, we all are suffering. We are suffering. We are begging for lives. They are begging for power.
With that talk, Yediyurappa will not continue in the top post, and attempts are underway to unseat him. The imagery also serves as a reminder of Yediyurappa's strength.
As Yediyurappa has not gained support from his MLAs, his family has now turned to seers from his community to rally behind him. However, this meeting is termed as a courtesy call, but the political message is strong and clear.
But as we have reported before, Yediyurappa, the Lingayat strongman, cannot be easily dethroned, and has proven in the past that looking beyond him can be a problematic exercise for the BJP. But if Mission YEXIT does manage to gather strength, if BJP High Command decides to replace Yediyurappa with another Lingayat, these are four probables. And if BJP decides to go with communities other than Lingayats, these are the four probables. Yediyurappa has been known to quell many a rumbling in the past. The question is, will things be different this time? With Nagarjun Dwarkanath in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
So will there be a YEXIT, or will this simmer continue? Joining me for perspective on the latest political story which has all of Karnataka buzzing at this moment, I want to introduce first our correspondent Nagarjun. He's heading our Bengaluru Bureau. With us is our National Affairs Editor Rahul Srivastav. TM Veeraraghav joins us. He's been part of the India Today group of political commentators for the elections. For political perspective, I'm joined by Mohan Krishna, leader of the Karnataka State BJP, BS Yediyurappa, leader of the Congress. And let's get started. We have Sandeep Shastri joining us with Lokniti, understands the ins and outs of Karnataka politics. What's your best assessment at this moment, Nagarjun? How many of Karnataka's BJP MLAs want BS Yediyurappa to continue as Chief Minister? How many would like to see his back? Is the sense in Karnataka at this moment that Yediyurappa's exit is inevitable, or do people think that this will continue in a soft simmer in the manner that it is right now?
Well, Rahul, it's still a catch-22 situation for most MLAs here because they still don't have a credible face if someone has to replace Yediyurappa. But on the other hand, at least 60% of them are against him in terms of the last 8 to 10 months, starting off with the cabinet expansion where a lot of aspirants were there and they could not get a berth and Yediyurappa didn't accommodate them. It started from there, but of late in the last 10 months, people could not meet him. MLAs were trying to reach him. He was not accessible is the allegations. And the biggest allegation that comes that the family interference, most of the 5-time, 3-time MLAs who have won would have to go meet the family for daily administration work. And why would they do so is the MLAs are questioning. So it all boiled up in the last 10 to 12 months. And it has reached now where the rumblings has come out in public. MLAs are speaking out in public. Ministers are speaking out in public. But the big question for High Command is, who after Yediyurappa, because they till now have not groomed the second-line leaders, and that's the catch-22 situation today.
Rahul Srivastava, what's the mood in the central BJP at this moment? In 2013, when Yediyurappa was ousted in inglorious circumstances, he went and formed his own party, as a result of which the Siddaramaiah-led Congress government came to power, and the BJP was, out of power in the state. Otherwise, if Yediyurappa had continued, they would have stayed on in power. Does the central leadership at this moment want Yediyurappa to continue, or are they now beginning to get frustrated and this reaches a point where at some point in time a decision becomes inevitable?
Rahul, the BJP is caught in a bind. You see, in South India was a planet out of the BJP solar system at one time. Two things happened to the BJP. One is Yediyurappa, and then a dominant vote bank that he controls, the Lingayat. And that is why last time around he became chief minister despite crossing that age limit ceiling that the BJP has created for holding public office. He's close to 78, I think. The problem right now for the BJP is that one, it has no alternative to Yediyurappa, and second, it has no alternative to the Lingayat caste. Karnataka politics for the BJP has operated on two terms. One is mutt and second is money. Now, in that scenario, what has happened in the last few days, you have had the Sutur Mutt from Mysore, Chitradurga, Tumkur, all over them coming out in the open, backing Yediyurappa as a defense mechanism. In that scenario, the BJP's options get limited further, because if you see the three deputy chief ministers, one of them is a Lingayat, but not a very strong leader. And that's why the BJP is yet to find a replacement, though it knows that it has 2 years' time to create a new leader and give Karnataka a leader. I think the issue that the BJP like to tackle first is what Nagarjun said. The interference by the family is basically the son. One of the sons has become the single point entry into the Yediyurappa Darbar. The BJP will like to tackle that first.
Sandeep Shastri, you're based out of Bengaluru, so you'll have a sense of what's happening around you. Can the BJP survive without Yediyurappa? 2013 and 2021 are very different in many ways. First, there is the Modi factor. A lot of the vote for the BJP in Karnataka in the last assembly election was on account of Modi, apart from the Lingayat vote bank that Yediyurappa brought to the table. 2013, there was no Modi. He's also now 78 years old as opposed to being 70 years old. The BJP, though, has burnt its fingers once. I can sense that frustration is now beginning to peak. Will it lead to some kind of decision, some kind of culmination, or will it continue in this unseemly fashion? What's your sense? Can the BJP survive without Yediyurappa? You're on mute right now, Sandeep.
Rahul, my own reading of the situation is the BJP central leadership is very clear that it wishes to have a change. But then it is also cautious because it keeps in mind what happened in 2013. So I think right from the time Mr. Yediyurappa took over as chief minister in this round, things have not been comfortable. I have seen a fatigue factor coming in the chief minister. And I think the central leadership is trying to create that situation in the state which makes it inevitable for the chief minister to make way. And if you look at his statements, the caveats he has been adding that when the center wants, I'm willing to leave. And one more point, Rahul. Let's remember Karnataka, the only bastion of the BJP south of the Vindhyas. The nature of the BJP in Karnataka is very different from the rest of the country. The party has broken several rules that it set for itself in Karnataka in terms of the age of the leadership, in terms of family members who are part of a party and in important influential positions. So several rules have been set aside in Karnataka simply because of the unique place that Karnataka had in terms of being the launching pad in South India. And I think an added complication for the BJP in Karnataka is the fact that you have loyalists, you have new converts to the party, you have fence-sitters, you have all types of people who make up the legislature profile of the party. And keeping all these groups together is the challenge. I think too much is being made about the caste factor when talking about the transitions, because I think within the BJP and in the context of the BJP's functioning, I don't think that's as critical a factor as much is loyalty for the party. I see a change likely to happen. I think the central leadership will keep everybody guessing as to when will it happen. And the central leadership will also keep everybody guessing as to who will be the one to replace. And the center has always used, the central BJP has always used that surprise element in these changes. So change, I feel, will be there. The timing is something I think which the central leadership will decide to be able to suit its advantage.
There's been a lot of buzz about a possible coziness between the JDS leadership and Yediyurappa. Is there a possibility that there could be a grand alliance? Could Yediyurappa try to break the BJP, set off on his own, try and build his own party like he did in 2013? Or do you think he's now too old and too over the hill with too many medical problems, age not on his side, and simply doesn't have the appetite or the ability to pull it off? Because last time there was no Modi, there was no Shah.
There was no BJP government at the center. The UPA government at the center, and so Yediyurappa could manage to break the party. With the present situation, I don't think he will go beyond breaking point. Having said that, I don't think the BJP central command wants to destabilize a government at this stage, so I don't see a change immediately. Over a period of time, yes, they have been looking at potential change, but as Rahul Srivastava pointed out, what is important is that they would like to keep the pressure going. They do not want this government to become a Yediyurappa solo family exercise, so there will be pressure constantly applied on Yediyurappa to keep.
No, but how does it help? Okay, one second. Here's the BJP that prides itself as being a party of capable administrators, very different from the Congress, which is known for family Raj, which is known for corruption. All of that's happening on the BJP's own watch in Karnataka. So you're saying they're allowing for this to continue to put the pressure on, but it's giving the BJP a bad name.
The fact that without Yediyurappa, there is no other leader who not just hold the caste vote. You see, those are different parts. The party has its own vote. There is no leader in the BJP today who can cut across party lines, reach out to MLAs, engineer the kind of defections that he did, and ensure that the party comes to power. Given that it's a slender majority government in Karnataka, and it's not a clear majority government in Karnataka, the BJP cannot experiment, which is why they will have to endure Yediyurappa, which is the reason why they brought him back into the party in the first place. That reality exists. But towards the next elections, the BJP would like to move forward in Karnataka, and there will be a game plan for that. For the moment, I don't think the BJP can afford to let go of Yediyurappa. Yediyurappa cannot afford to go beyond breaking point like he did in 2013. So the bargaining chips are there with both sides, and I think they will continue bargaining and work out some kind of a solution closer to the elections.
Mohan Krishna, this is really showing the BJP government in Karnataka in bad light, because your set of charges against the Congress and the JDS was that there was an unholy alliance, an unnatural alliance, and that the government couldn't deliver good governance under H.D. Kumaraswamy. Now, if you see what Yediyurappa's government has been doing over the past several months as they've been in power, they haven't set any benchmark for good administration. This is leaving a bad taste in people's mouth, and the party seems to be unable to correct this rot.
Good evening, Rahul. First of all, a part of it, what Mr. Sandeep Shastri has spoken, I agree to him. A part of Rahul Srivastava, what he has spoken, I agree to him. But I would like to tell you something, that the Khichdi government of Congress and JDS was dismantled by their own Congress MLAs who were not happy with the party and the administration.
So that's in the past. That's in the past. Let's park that on the side. Let's talk about what's happening on your watch with the BJP government in Karnataka at this moment. Respond to that. Why is there such a mess? Why are so many ministers and MLAs speaking out against their own chief minister so publicly?
I'm coming to the point. I'm coming to the point, Rahul. The thing is that, you know, see, we have started the government. In the first instance itself, we have proved Yediyurappa, the Karnataka chief minister, BJP chief minister, has proved that he is still worthy enough. Age is not the criteria. By working alone in the flood situation in the Belgaum and around 8 districts, he traveled alone without any ministers. We should remember this. This is an instance where the administration, people who talk about administration or maladministration should know this. Second, coming to the point of pandemic, even in the pandemic time also, both the time in the first wave and second wave, with the ministers, he has worked, the team has delivered whatever the best. We have suffered throughout the country, throughout the world, we have suffered. Maybe the reason why you are feeling that the administration has not taken up properly. That's one point.
No, but that's not my question. I'm asking you a straight question. If your government is doing so well and its performance has been so great, why are so many BJP MLAs and ministers so publicly hostile to their own chief minister? Respond just to that question.
Couple of MLAs and one or two ministers probably might have spoken. Okay, and they have also reconciled. And both the ministers said that Mr. Arun Singh, the voice of the High Command, who is in charge of the Karnataka state, is going to come to Bangalore tomorrow, and he's going to take care of all these issues. These are all the small issues. It is not that big, and it is not for the leadership change what they are asking. It is for the small issues that has to be sorted out. And
BS Yediyurappa, do you agree that this is a small issue, as the BJP spokesperson puts it? It's about reconciling individual aspirations, which the BJP Central Party leadership should be able to do. It doesn't mean that the Chief Minister's own position is under threat.
In a way, that is their version. See, as far as my knowledge goes, Mr. Yediyurappa, this is the 4th time becoming the Chief Minister. At no point of time he had people's mandate. Only through Operation Kamala he became CM. For Operation Kamala, Mr. Yediyurappa had invested crores of money, around more than 1,000 crores. So when he became the Chief Minister...
Can I intervene?
Let him speak, please. Let him speak. He heard you patiently. I'll come back to you, sir.
Please allow me to place the correct facts on record. He and his family members started from the day one to loot money, ignoring the development and party sincere workers and leaders. So BSY family has been taking bribes by way of RTGS. In every work, they are taking 25 to 30% of the kickbacks.
No, but that's your charge. Where is the specific evidence to back this?
My charge.
While this has been said often, where is the specific charge to back this?
Please listen to me. Please allow me to.
Do you have any
evidence for make my submission. This is not my party stand or my statement. These are the statements made by the BJP MLAs. In fact, BJP MLAs have been making statements after statements that BSY's son, Vijayendra, is a de facto CM. And he has been collecting money from various quarters.
Rahul is talking something which is not relevant at all.
No. That is the relevant fact. Why your MLA?
It is not relevant. It is not relevant. You tell me. Are you there?
BJP leader, please listen to me. So when Mr. Yediyurappa was a CM,
you are making such a big charges against BJP MLAs and ministers and chief minister. Have you got proof with you? What is the evidence that you show it? You go to the court then.
Please listen to me, my dear friend. I know the BJP background.
You can go to the court and fight it out there.
Please, his family. See, because
just
BJP
because your party is not
MLAs
there, you also have a lot of problems between
talk rubbish,
DK
my dear
Shivkumar and
friend.
Siddaramaiah.
Listen to me. Allow me
Because
to
of that,
talk.
you are talking about
Don't
us.
talk rubbish. Don't talk rubbish. When I am talking, why are you interfering? Don't talk
You
rubbish.
are talking rubbish, 1,000 crores.
Okay,
without
one second. I can't allow this conversation to
what you are
degenerate because that doesn't serve the purpose. Both faders go down, please. What are the reasons behind this series of rumblings against the Chief Minister? Rebel MLAs allege that BSY's family members have been interfering in administrative affairs, while the Chief Minister claims he will last out his entire term. The MLAs have told the party High Command that they want the Chief Minister out. All eyes are now on the BJP central leadership.
It's the return of Nataka in Karnataka, and suspense is building around a possible YEXIT. In a repeat of what happened a decade ago, MLAs are once again demanding the ouster of incumbent CM Yediyurappa. But unlike 2010, this time Chief Minister Yediyurappa says he will agree to whatever High Command decides.
ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮುಂದುವರಿತೇನೆ. ಯಾವ ದಿವಸ ನೀವು ಬೇಡ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರೇ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೋ ಆ ದಿವಸ ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಹಗಲು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಯಾವುದೇ ಗೊಂದಲದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನಿಲ್ಲ.
ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತ. ನನ್ನ ಪಕ್ಷ ಏನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಅನ್ನಂತೆ ನಾಯಕತ್ವದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬದ್ಧ. ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಇವರೇ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಹೊರೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಇವ್ರು ತೆಗಿಬೇಕು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಸೇರಿಸಬೇಕು ಇದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Around 50 to 60 disgruntled MLAs have spoken to each other over phone and virtually on their next course of action. Their demand is that grievances have to be heard and a platform is needed. The MLA want Yediyurappa out, alleging interference of CM's family in daily administration. The Chief Minister not being accessible. The MLAs feel that BSY will not be the next CM face and that the party needs to prepare in advance for the 2023 elections. Many disgruntled cabinet aspirants have also joined the chorus against the Chief Minister. Few BJP MLAs and Minister Yogeshwar camped in Delhi and complained to the party High Command. MLA Basangowda Yatnal even hinted at a video of the CM being caught in a compromising position.
ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೋವಂಥ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವ್ರಿಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರು ಯೋಗೇಶ್ವರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ರಮ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಬರೀ ಒಂದೇ ಗಂಟೆ ಸೇಮ್ ರಮೇಶ್ ಜಾರಕಿಹೊಳಿ ಪ್ರಕರಣ.
BJP's Karnataka in charge, Arun Singh, will be in the state on 16th. He will meet state ministers and MLAs over 3 days in Bengaluru. The state BJP has even formed a coordination committee to sort out issues. A 15-member committee would provide a platform to MLAs to air their grievances.
Every 6 months, every year, legislative party is going. Because of the COVID, there is no legislative meeting. There is no change in the leadership. Another 2 years, Yediyurappa will continue.
As talks of YEXIT gain traction, BJP MLA and Chief Minister's secretary claimed that he has signatures of 65 MLAs who have pledged their support to BS Yediyurappa.
ಸರ್ 65ಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜನ ಶಾಸಕರು ಆತ್ಮಸಾಕ್ಷಿಗೆ ಎದೆ ಮುಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸಹಿ ಹಾಕಿದ ಪತ್ರ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಇದೆ. ಇದನ್ನ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರಾಗಲಿ ಕೆಲವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ಯಾರ್ದಾರ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೈತಿ ವಿಜಯೇಂದ್ರ ನನಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವಿಜಯೇಂದ್ರ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವ್ರ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳು ವಿಜಯೇಂದ್ರ ಸಮಯ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜನತಾ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಉಪಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರು. ನಾನು 3 ಬಾರಿ ಶಾಸಕನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ವಿಜಯೇಂದ್ರನ ಮಾತು ಕೇಳಿ ನಾನು ಕೇಳದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಾನೇನಿರಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವ್ರು ನಮ್ಮಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಡಿಸಲ್ಲ.
The centre, though, is keeping its cards close to its chest.
ಯಾವುದು ಸಹಿ ಸಂಗ್ರಹ ಏನು ನಡೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಆದ್ಯತೆ ಇರೋದು ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟು, ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಯಾವ ಸಹಿ ಸಂಗ್ರಹನೂ ನಡೀತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
One thing is certain, Mission YEXIT is well and truly afoot in Karnataka. Will Chief Minister BSY survive? With Nagarjun Dwarkanath, Bureau Report, India Today.
The Chief Minister, of course, complains and alleges that there are people in the central BJP leadership who are out to get him. And how much of a factor is that, Nagarjun? This supposed rivalry between people in the BJP's organization and the Chief Minister, and the Chief Minister's apprehension that those who are from his state are opposed to him and therefore don't want to see him as Chief Minister and rather have one of their own nominees.
Well, that is true, Rahul. In fact, without the blessings of High Command, the rebel MLAs would not voice their opinion in public. Even though the CM has been saying that action would be taken against this so-called disgruntled MLAs, not once have they been told to not voice their opinion in public. And also remember, there are instances where the Chief Minister had gone to Delhi and was waiting to meet the Home Minister or the Prime Minister for 3 consecutive days. He had not got an appointment. And in the recent times also, it was the Home Minister who went to apprise the Central Home Minister from here. Basavaraj Bommai went to talk to Amit Shah about the COVID preparation that Karnataka is doing, but not the Chief Minister. Like if you read between the lines, it's a clear message that High Command also is not okay with everything.
But Mohan Krishna, this weakens the Chief Minister of your own party. Here, the situation is you've got MLAs and ministers, as we showed our viewers in that report, publicly speaking out, saying that 60-65 MLAs have signed a signature campaign against their own Chief Minister. And if that's not kosher, then what are you doing about it? How is it that there is an open rebellion in your party and the BJP is simply looking the other way, which leads to the question about whether there are those in the central leadership who are encouraging this kind of behavior?
Rahul, I think you have not understood the Kannada what they said exactly. The minister, Mr. Yogeshwar, said categorically, we are not here asking for a change of leadership, or he should become, or that person, or this person should become. We are here that some issues are there that has to be sorted out. That's what it is. What Mr. Yogeshwar has said. And as far as the political secretary, Mr. Renukacharya, he was talking about 65 signatures. 65 signatures, what he is talking is in support of Mr. Yediyurappa, not against Yediyurappa. But that has also been cautioned to him that the High Command and Mr. Arun Singh has said categorically to both of them, in public, nobody should speak. And
so just one second.
Now,
if in the Chief Minister's office they say we have 60-65 signatures in our favor, and if the number of seats that you have are 128, the number of MLAs that you have is much more, then what about the others? Why aren't the others signing up? The fact is that all of this is public admission of the fact that all is not well in Karnataka.
No, all is well in Karnataka, Rahul. I could tell you very. I'm giving examples. Mr. BS Yediyurappa, who is a senior minister in Karnataka, who is handling RDPR, he has also said that whatever the problems will be sorted out during the visit of Mr. Arun Singh. See, we have internal democracy in BJP, unlike other parties, where they don't have. They have the only thing is when we have internal democracy, it will be heard. Whatever the issues will be heard by the.
I want to give our viewers a sense of the numbers as they stand. The BJP, when the results came, had 104 seats. That's now up to 118, a change of 14 after the elections because the by-elections, because of all the MLAs who came from the JDS and the Congress. But this is a wafer-thin majority, and therefore, Veera Raghav, if even a handful of these MLAs were to jump or to switch sides, it makes the BJP government's continuance that much tougher, which is why it's very difficult for the central leadership to act in any meaningful way against Yediyurappa, because he literally holds the Karnataka government by its reins. If they try and topple him, he can just jump off the horse and that will be the end of the Karnataka BJP government.
That's right. It gives them limited space, but having said that, the fact that it's such a group majority central government would weigh in on it.
Sandeep Shastri, do you want to answer that same question while we fix Veera Raghav's audio?
Right. I think as you have been saying, it's a catch-22 situation. The BJP would like a leadership change, but does not want to see a situation where Mr. Yediyurappa can rock the boat. So I think in a sense what's happening is it's a wait and watch game, and you're trying to tire out the chief minister. I think I have often used this phrase. The chief minister seems to have lost that passion, that excitement which he earlier had to be able to run the government. He sees the writing on the wall, sees an inevitability of having to move forward. There seems to be a political exhaustion that seems to be coming in the chief minister. So I said, I think both sides are weighing options. Let's be very clear about that. The legislature party of the BJP is a very faction-driven party. You have the old-timer loyalists, you have the newcomers, then you have those who are partly loyalists, partly newcomers. So I think it's a mix of various categories of MLAs, unlike what you have in many other states for the BJP. So this division in terms of where these people came from makes the job even more difficult to keep the flock together.
Okay, so a representative from the central BJP, Arun Singh, will be going to Karnataka. It will be interesting to see whether he's able to bring these warring factions together, because for this moment, you have a very unseemly situation where MLAs and ministers are publicly speaking against the chief minister, and no one in the central BJP seems to be acting against those who are speaking out against their own government, just letting it all happen and looking the other way while it does. This is a situation where something has to give at some point. Can it just continue in this fashion? But then, as I said at the top of the show, Karnataka has already had enough dramas. Maybe this will just be another Nataka in that long saga. We'll track this story very closely. I want to thank our guests for joining us and our reporters on the ground. We'll cover that visit tomorrow and see what emerges, and whether the BJP central leadership actually moves to take a decision or they allow this to continue. Coming up on the other side, exactly a year ago, India gave a bloody nose to China when 20 braves thwarted Chinese intrusion